Okay, today's video is going to be something that I hope you will find useful. I'm going to go over how to process a galaxy. So I'm going to try and reprocess my data from a couple years ago on the Andromeda Galaxy, because every single time I look at this image, I want to puke. To me, this is a very ugly image. It looks really rushed. There is an artifact here on the left that I was unable to remove last time. I'm sure now with more skills I can remove it easily. And also this galaxy looks, the colors are not perfect. I want more blue colors and a darker background. So I'm going to try and import my old data into PixInsight, and we'll see if we can get something better. And I was going to, record this so we can show you how to, give you some tips on how to process the Andromeda Galaxy. So let's head into PixInsight right now. I'm going to hide my face because I don't think you care about my face. So I will turn this camera off and we'll just focus on PixInsight. And let's get into it. Okay, so we have the master file of Andromeda here in PixInsight. This is what it looks like. I will unstretch for you so you can see. And now here stretched. And the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to crop some of the edges, mostly because first of all the stars on the corners are a bit elongated due to back focus issues, and also because the stacking, it adds some lines here and you don't want that in your frame. So I'm going to right away go to processes and grab dynamic crop and quickly make a square or a rectangle on my image. So I don't want to include those lines. I'm just going to maybe stop over here. I want to make sure the whole galaxy is included, of course, so I don't want to crop too much, but here we should be good. I'm going to change some ratio here, so as you can see the center dot is inside the core of the galaxy, so it, to ensure it's in the center, just like that. Okay, and just apply. Step 1 is done. Amazing. Now comes the most annoying step of the whole process, which is taking care of the background and the vignetting and the gradients. And this is best done with the background extraction tool. I don't think I will bother using the automatic one because M31 is so huge. I don't think it's going to work well. So I'm going to right away open up dynamic background extraction, which is very annoying to use, but that's how it is. I'm just going to click once on the image so it knows. And I like to select a samples per row 8, and here tolerance I usually go around like 1.5 or 2. The lower you go, the least, if you're too low, then if you click on generate, it won't actually place points everywhere, but you want the process to actually put points everywhere. So I'm going to start with 2 right away, because I know that usually it works well on this type of image. And generate, and as you can see, we have dots everywhere. Now if some of your dots are red, it means it won't work well, so you have to play with the tolerance level until everything looks white and perfect, like here. Like for example here 2 is perfect. So what I have to do now is to make sure that none of these dots are on top of stars or the main object. So here I'm going to move each of these points so that there is no star in this window here. If the stars are very small, it's not too much of a big deal, but here I want to make sure that, like here is fine, no big deal. Here is, obviously it's a problem because the stars are so huge. So just move them around, and yeah, I will get back to you as soon as I did that. But if if for example you have a, like for example this one here is obviously on top of a spiral arm, you can just delete that one or move it away if you want to, but I just delete it usually. So I will go over all of these dots and get back to you when it's done. Okay, so everything seems to be moved out of the way of the stars and the galaxy itself. I just removed a few that were around here, and now everything else is in complete background. So here you have 2 options, subtraction and division. I'm going to start with subtraction, but you can pick whichever works best. You can try both of them. One is for removing vignetting and one is for removing more like light pollution gradients. So both can work well together, or one can be better than the other, so it depends. So here I'm going to just create a clone really quick and apply this on the clone. And let's see what we have. Hopefully the background will look more even and the galaxy will pop out more. So obviously we have two stages in processing, linear and nonlinear. We are currently in linear phase, so I have to stretch every single time. Think of the linear phase as like nothing that you see really is true. Like everything is just stretched just for visual purposes. Once we go into the nonlinear phase, then it will be a permanent stretch. So here we have the galaxy with still some gradients. As you can see, there is a bunch of green gradient, as well as this corner here and here, as well as here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this, and I'm going to add a bunch of dots in the corners, just to be much more aggressive in the corners where the issues are. So because I know that we have a bunch of green, disgusting vignetting in the corners, I'm trying to tell the process to be much more aggressive there. If you add a bunch of dots like I'm doing right now, it won't matter as much if some of them are on top of stars like here. I don't want to bother because I'm adding so many of them. But let's see if that makes a difference. I'm just going crazy here. Maybe it's smart, maybe it's not. I don't know. All I care about, honestly, is to have a good image at the end, so... As long as my end result is fine, then I'm happy. Okay, if we still have some weird gradients here, I'm just going to ignore them and we'll try to fix them later. Because I think we can easily fix... if it's just the green, we can easily fix that, the colors later. Okay, that's fine. The green is less dominant here, at least. That's fine. Let's just go with the flow rate. I'm going to try to add a division fix here and see what happens. Yeah, okay, it's fine. We'll keep this one here. I'm going to save this on the side just in case, but I'm going to close this process and I'm going to close the other images. Okay, now that this is out of the way, because this is really the most annoying one of all, I'm going to rename this main. So now we can start going into more fun processes. So here, let's see. The stars look pretty good. I don't think I'm going to bother doing a deconvolution. I'm going to try to keep this very simple, so I'm going to skip the convolution. This is really good if you want to enhance some fine details in the stars or in the arms, but for this video I'm just going to ignore it. So now I'm going to use the plugin Noise Exterminator to remove some of the noise. So luckily for us, the noise in our image is not too bad. But there obviously is some still. So I'm going to use this and see what happens. So I'm going to make sure that linear is checked because we are still in the linear phase, and just apply it. I'm pretty sure that 90% is way too much, so it might look blurry, but let's see. We're going to give it a try, and if it's too blurry, I'll just reduce the denoise amount. Okay, and let's zoom in and see what happened. Okay, so it's really good. It's not that bad. I mean, it's not. I thought it would be all blurry, but it's not. It's actually very good. Maybe a tad blurry, I would say. Let's do a before and after real quick. And the good thing about this plugin is that it's using AI to recognize and to not affect the object in our frame. So normally it should not be affecting the galaxy, although it seems to be affecting it a bit still. So I'm going to reduce the amount here to maybe like 50% or even like 44%. Let's go, just because I know that we can also reduce noise further later at the end of the process, at the end of the workflow. So at the beginning it was a good idea to be very subtle with the noise reduction. You don't want to make your image blurry right from the beginning. Okay, let's zoom in again and do a before and after. This is before, after, yeah, it's fine. Okay, so I will close this for now, and then we'll do these two last processes before we turn our image into the nonlinear phase. So this is going to take care of the colors in our background and the object. So we have to do two previews, one for the background itself. I'll just grab it like over here, a tiny bit, just so it's all background. Actually, this one is bad because there's stars in it. So you want an area where there's no stars and just background color. So like here, like that. And then I'll do a big preview for the whole image as a whole. So like this, bam. And then the first preview will be for the background. And the second preview is for the white reference, which is the object. So I'll just populate those slots, and I'll just apply both in a row. Okay, and it should give us some more natural colors, obviously. And of course, stretch. Okay, so now I'm going to close these two, and I'm going to remove the previews. Previews, delete all. Okay, now comes the fun part, which is turning this into a nonlinear image. So I'm going to open up histogram transformation. I will reset the STF here and put that away. And now, let's see. So of course you have to open up the preview first, and I like to always choose the maximum quality. And as you can see, if you stretch like crazy, your image becomes more and more visible. So let's zoom in a bit more into the histogram, and we're going to stretch. So I'm just going to do a couple of quick stretches first, just because I intend to use a different type of stretching afterwards, at the same time. So here I'm just going to stretch before reaching the histogram. Let's see, like this. So if you want to, you can just stretch all the way just once if you want, but if you really want to get the best possible colors and results, this is what I do usually. I just stretch a couple times. Let's see, it's a bit finicky with my mouse to zoom in and out, but I'll just stretch a bit more until, let's see, a bit more like this. Okay. And now, instead of continuing stretching with the histogram until I'm satisfied, I'm going to reset that and open up Aux and Stretch. And from here, I will finish the stretching. So using the stretch factor, I can go high. And this is just going to make our colors more vibrant. And I just like to use this tool more than just using the histogram. So go high, but not too much, and then use the black point just a bit, because if you go crazy, this is what happens. So you have to use it very carefully. I just do like this and stretch a bit more. So you want your image to look a bit too bright, because then we can always fix the contrast later. So better go too bright than too dark. Okay, I'll just apply this now. And I can now close this. All right, and now we officially have our nonlinear image. So now we don't really need to stretch between each step. There is no point because the image is already permanently stretched. So obviously here there is a huge issue, which is this disgusting leak or whatever that is here on the left. So I'm going to remove the stars. This you can do either before or after you stretch. Usually it's best done before, but I feel like since the new version came out of StarNet, it usually works well either before or after you stretch. So in this case, I'm just going to make a clone of the image, and I'm going to apply StarNet 2 on it, and hopefully we'll have a starless version of Andromeda followed by a star mask. Okay, so we now have two new files. Like I said earlier, we have the starless version, which is not amazing. We still have some stars here and there, but it's no big deal. And we also have a star mask here, which looks very good. So for now, I'm going to put the star mask away, just like that. which we'll use later at the very end almost. And I'm going to now work on this starless version. So I can actually delete the regular image here. I don't really care anymore. So now I can just rename this one as my new main image. Okay, so we have some issues here to deal with. The first thing is this reflection here, and then some of the bright stars around. Although the stars don't really matter that much, because once we add the star mask to it at the end, it actually is going to be on top of these bright blobs, so it's no big deal. But the main thing that worries me here is this one, which I was not able to remove last time. So let's go into process, all process, and I'm going to try to use the clone stamp tool. And to use this, we are going to click once, and then I'm going to make the radius maybe around 50 to start with. And I never remember which key I have to hold. It's either command or option or control. Let's try command. It's command. So you click somewhere as a reference point, and then you can repaint other areas using the reference point. So obviously 50 is too small. Let's try 200. Okay, that should work. So here I'm just going to try to paint this area with the same color as the actual background around it. Oh, perfect. That was easy. All right, that's done. And then maybe I'll do this one here. Okay. And then is there any other main issue we see? I could take my time and remove all those blobs, but now that I think of it, I think it's going to look fine once I put the stars back in, so it's no big deal. Okay, that's fine. So we'll click on the green check mark here. Perfect. And great. Now I'm going to use SCNR to remove the green. That's just a very quick and easy way to get rid of the green. Just like that. Okay, and now we have a much more red/blue image. Next, we'll try to reveal as much detail in the galaxy as possible. So for this, I'm going to open up local histogram equalization. But first, I'm going to be using another plugin, which is free in utilities. It's called Game. This will allow me to make a mask very quickly and great for this object. So I'm going to click on Add here, and I can just resize this mask just so it includes the Andromeda Galaxy. Okay, this galaxy here, M110, is not very important to mask because it's just an elliptical galaxy, so there is not much detail to reveal anyway in there. Actually, there is like zero detail almost, so I don't really care to include it in there. We'll just leave it as is, and then I just want to make sure I have the entire spiral arms of the Andromeda Galaxy. Okay. Alright, sounds good. And I can just click on OK, and it's going to create a mask for me, which is great. This plugin is really useful for galaxies, especially large ones like the Andromeda Galaxy. And as you can see here, the mask is beautiful. And now I can apply this mask onto the main image. And let's make sure we have the correct, well, do we need to invert it? No, we don't. So red is going to be protected and white is going to be affected. So we want to affect the galaxy because we want the details in the galaxy. So let's open up the preview here. And if we do a quick before and after, as you can see, all these details are coming up really nice. You can play with the sliders here. I might go a bit lower, maybe like 480, just because if it's too harsh, then it might look unnatural. So I think 480 is actually a good amount here for this target. Okay, so since I have the mask on, I'm just going to invert the mask real quick, and I'm going to work on the background colors because these colors are not very good. And this one here is fine, but this purple here is not good. So if we go to color saturation, for example, and I'm going to open up the preview, we have, if we click and hold, we have some colors here that are like in the purple/magenta area. So I'm going to drag one of those dots here lower. Oh, actually, let me increase the range to 10. And then if we reduce, see, as you can see here now, the background is becoming more even due to us fixing the purple coloring. Same for the red. Okay, and now the background looks, it's not perfect, but it's more even. So I'm going to apply this. And now, since I'm here, usually I would work with color masks, but for this galaxy, we mostly have blues and oranges and yellows. So I think if I don't bother with mask and I just use color saturation, I might be able to play with the colors and bring them up perfectly. Let's try. First, let's see. I'm going to invert the mask again. Okay. And then let's see here if we can bring out the colors properly. So we have blues and reds. Okay, so it's mostly blues here. Let's try, it's mostly oranges. So if we make this color more prominent, as you can see, it's beautiful, but the whole point of me reprocessing this data is I really want more blue. So I hope I can bring up some of the blues. Because for some reason, the blue I have in this data is not very visible. And I don't like that. Okay, if I go crazy with the blues, it's helping a bit. Let's see. But not enough. Okay, let's apply this once and see what happens. Okay, so it's going to be difficult. I'm going to try to open up curves and see if I can play with the blue here to just bring up more of the blue before I play with saturations more. So see if I do this with a mask, it's having a good impact on the blue. It's kind of turning the extra red and oranges into more of a blue color, which is what I want. So I'm going to play with that and try to increase the blues just in the spiral arms, because Andromeda has blues in the spiral arms and the core is mostly yellow and orange, so I want to make sure it's natural looking. So you can play with the blue in two options, once with a B, so the blue channel here, and one with the little B channel. If you bring it down, it's more blue. If you bring it up, then it's more yellow. Okay, this is good. Let's apply it. And then I'll play one more time with the color saturation graph. And now we can try to improve on specific colors. Okay, so it's a bit too purple for my taste, but it's fine. We can fix that later. So I'm going to apply this, and let's see here. I'm going to close the preview, and next we will try to kind of darken the background, which is way too grayish and way too light here. So if I go back to curves, if I invert the mask, I'll go to RGBK, which is the main channel for curves, and I can decrease the brightness here. Although it might not look very natural, so actually I'm going to remove the mask so there is no obvious separation here. And if I remove the mask, then I can still do this with a more natural division between the background and the galaxy. Alright, I don't like how white and washed out this part is. I don't know why it's doing that, but for now it will do. Okay, I'm going to apply this. We have a darker background now. And what else we have? We don't have much left to do. We just have to add the stars back in it. Oh, one more thing you can do is go to Utilities, Script, Utilities, and Dark Structure Enhance, and just apply with default settings. This will help, well, like it says, enhance the dark structures. So we have some dark structures in the spiral arms here. So these will kind of be darkened a bit and with more contrast. And so before I add the stars back together, I'm going to actually throw this image into Topaz Denoise as well as Topaz Sharpen, and we'll see if it's worth it or not, because if using Topaz Denoise might help us make the overall image look cleaner. So I'll just export this as a TIFF, and I'll see you in Topaz. Okay, so here, this is now with Topaz Denoise with these settings here that I played with really quick. And then this is before, after, before, after, before. So two things to look at is the overall noise, it's slightly better now. And the second thing is look at these details here. These details are much more prominent. You don't want to go too high with the sharpness, or else it was going to look very, very unnatural and fake. So don't go too high. Usually I go much lower than this, but here I'm just going to be quick for the video, and that looks fine to me. I'm going to try to remove the noise a bit further, and then I'm going to export this image, and we'll try to open it in Topaz Sharpen. Okay, we now have the image in Topaz Sharpen, and as you can see, I just let the software do it automatically, and this is before and this is after. So obviously there is a huge issue here, and that's because the issue being it's way too sharp now. Way too sharp, meaning like it looks fake to me. If we look at the center here, look at this area. Wait, it's updating right now. It's going to look way too sharp, so that's not good. So I'm going to unselect the automatic use, and maybe I'll just do it much less aggressively. Let's see what happens now. Just to be safe, I don't want to go too over the top. So I'm going to apply this, and we will drag this new, the new TIFF file into PixInsight and add the stars back together, and then we'll be almost done. Okay, so this is the file before, and this is the file after. And if we zoom in, you will see the difference right away. This was, used to be kind of blurry, and now it's more crisp. And yeah, I like the new version better. Just be sure you don't go crazy with Topaz, because it's very simple to go crazy with it, and then you have fake stuff. I mean, it's an AI, so it can create like fake pixels here and there, so be careful with that. Alright, so I'm going to delete the old one, and once again rename the new one as main, just so I know it's my main file. And all we have to do now is to add the stars back together. I think the background is dark enough, right? Let's try to make it maybe a bit darker one last time. I'm very not pleased with this washed out area here. I'm not sure why that is. Okay, I don't want to go too dark. Okay, that's fine. And now to add the stars is very simple. I will go to Pixel Math, and I will use a single RGBK expression, and type main plus star mask, just like that, and let's apply it. Okay, so the stars look way too bright and big for me, for my taste. So what I can do is use morphological transformation to try and reduce their size. So I'm going to apply this here, okay, as a star mask, and then use morphological transformation full power. Let's see, and let's apply it. Okay, and I will apply it even one more time. That looks better to me. Another thing you could do is you could play with a star mask histogram, for example, or curves. Let's see here. I don't often do this, but let's see if that works. For example, if I try to hide some of these stars like that, make them less bright, maybe it will look okay once I apply it. Let's see here. Let's try with Pixel Math once again. Up. So this is without any morphological transformation. See, there is less stars, and I think it looks better. So I'm actually gonna use that instead. I will reapply the star mask and do a morphological transformation just to see on this new image. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, I know for a fact it looks better than my very first attempt from 2 years ago. That's for sure. But yeah, I don't want to spend too long on this video, that's why I'm kind of rushing through this, but here is the final image. I'm going to now just export it. I might do some touch-ups in Lightroom really quick, but this is what it looks like. I'm very pleased, actually, compared to the old one. Okay, so we're pretty much done here. I just wanted to really quickly see if I could improve the image one last time using Lightroom. And you know, because at first glance this is beautiful, but it's still a bit too purple for my taste. I was hoping for a more true blue color. So here I'm just going to try to play with some sliders and see what happens if I change some of the colors. Of course, you are welcome to play with every slider to see if there is any way you can enhance the image even more, and hopefully you will export a wonderful picture. So here I'm just going to go down, or maybe bring up the vibrance a bit, same for saturation, and I'll go down directly to the hue channels here, which is what I think matters for the blue color that I'm looking for. And because I think it's too purple, I'm going to grab the purple slider, and let's see, if we go right it's going to be more purple, if we go left it should be more blue. Perfect, that's exactly what I wanted, this kind of blue here. Not too much, I don't want any cyan, I just want a pure blue, like sky blue color. Just like that, perfect. And then just by curiosity I'm going to play around with the other ones as well. See, you can make the core more red or more yellow, up to you. But yeah, this is great. And one last thing you can do is go up, I think it's here to the fourth option here and select brush. And if you want, it's a bit risky, but if you want, you can kind of brush some of these spiral details in the spiral arms. And once that's done, you can hide the mask and play with the clarity, for example, to make it more obvious. Same for the sharpness. But once again, be very careful because this might not look natural if you do it too much. But since I don't really care that much here, I'm trying to make a quick video, hopefully under 1 hour. That's what I was hoping for. I have no idea how long this video is right now, but yeah, that's why I'm not gonna spend too long on this. And I think this is the end result. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you plan on imaging the Andromeda Galaxy, I hope you can follow along and process your own data and end up with something beautiful. Obviously here there is some issues still. For example, this ugly white washed out section here that I'm sure I could fix if I spend more time on PixInsight. But overall it looks nice, it looks very nice. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and cheers guys.